Right. I'm going to discuss this model paper with you. And this is from the first page I'm going. So on the first page, as you can see, you are given 3 hours the time and answer all the questions. 4 questions are there. Number of pages 7. So you will get the actual paper also in this same style. Now there are some important instructions to the candidates on the first page, so that you have to read them carefully, and then you can understand all those things and you need to follow these instructions very clearly. So we will move on to the questions what appears in the model paper. So answer all parts. Now in blue color I have given the answers. So the first question is, list 4 characteristics which can be used to differentiate living organisms from non-living matter. So it is very easy. Oh, wait a minute, just jumped. It is just to living and non-living. So it is very easy to understand. And respiration, like the things which the living organisms do, and you can't see them in non-living. I explained you at the beginning of the lecture series. So it is the 4 characteristics are asked. So if you write any of these 4, that is that you can get the marks. So 1 mark for each character. So things like respiration, the living organisms do, but not the non-living matter. Digestion, circulation, assimilation, excretion, metabolism, growth and development. Only the living organisms show these things. Irritability and coordination, adaptation, reproduction, heredity, and evolution. So any of any 4 from these, if you write, then you will get 4 marks. So that is the answer for the section A. Then section B, name 2 types of polysaccharides found in organisms. Write 1 function for each of them. So provide polysaccharide. The question is 2 types of polysaccharides found in organisms. So write 1 function of each of them. So you can write several things. You can, for example, if you write chitin gives the strength. That is, chitin is there in the insect cuticle, so it gives the strength. So it is the cuticle in arthropods. In arthropods, exoskeleton skeleton outside the body is made up of chitin. So that is a polysaccharide. Or you can say cellulose. Cellulose in plant wall you find cellulose. It gives strength. And glycogen, that is the compound which is it's a carbohydrate, polysaccharide. It is in animal storage product. Starch is also polysaccharide. It is again in potato and all you find. It is a storage it acts as a storage in plants, right? So any of these will give. So likewise, if you are asked to name polysaccharides, so proteins, so nucleic acid, you should be able to write proteins, name 2 types of proteins. So nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, and all those things you should be familiar. It is not difficult. Then the next question C is list 4 functions of water in living organisms. 1 mark per function. Facilitate thermoregulation in animals. When the sweating is there, when you are exercising too much, or if your body temperature goes higher, sweating is done by the water. Water is there too, because when the sweating evaporates, you get the body get cool. So body get cooler. So that the water is important there. Maintain the cell structure and shape of a shape at a molecular level. Facilitate protein folding. Water is reactant for many vital biochemical reactions. It acts as a medium for various things. So any of those things can you can get marks if you write. These are just 4 types of answers I have given. So likewise, you may be you can we may ask functions of carbohydrates, functions of lipids. So if you know the functions of lipids, carbohydrates I told you here, storage and giving strength and so on. If you are asked to write lipids, you should be able to write like lipid provide insulation. Insulation means it acts as a fat layer. You know, below our skin, you find a fat layer. So it gives insulation to the body, and also it makes a structural component in cell membrane. You find phospholipids, so you can write that. Or it's act as energy storage. So those answers you can write. And if you are asked to write for the right functions of proteins, you can write functions of proteins like hemoglobin is a protein, right? It carries oxygen. And muscles are there. They are made up of proteins for movements. And enzymes are there for reactions. And proteins can also act as energy for energy, can give energy when carbohydrates and fat storages in the body is exhausted, or the fat and carbohydrate are not freely available. The body uses protein for energy production. So likewise, you can write, if you are asked to write a protein, no fat, no carbohydrate. Then, then the next is the list for function. Okay. For this next question, we have asked figure 1 depicts the structure of a plant cell. So structure of a plant cell or animal cell you can get. So here the plant cell, A is the mitochondrium, chloroplast. Mitochondrium is here, it is not labeled here. Chloroplast A, B is the cell wall, C is the vacuole, D is the nucleus. So the chloroplast, the function is photosynthesis. Cell wall, it is a protection, B. Vacuole, B a protection, or the maintain the shape of the cell. C is the vacuole. So vacuole, I said they may act as storages and also maintain turgidity. Turgidity means gives a strength to the where once it is filled with liquid, it can give the strength, right? So that is why they maintain turgidity, and the storage function is also there. And the D is the nucleus. Nucleus is the main regulator of the cell, so it regulates cellular activity and also storage of genetic information. So because DNA, RNA, you can write storage of chromosomes. So those things also can be written, right? So any correct answer you will get the marks, right? So likewise, you can be asked about the other organelles of the cells as well. For example, mitochondria, you know, it is energy production or the cellular respiration. And you may ask the other things like ER or the endoplasmic reticula. So protein, it carries protein in, they are rough endoplasmic reticula, they carry protein, and this is cell wall, and below that cell plasma membrane. So plasma membrane gives the boundary of the cell, and it allows various things to go across it. So likewise, and the centriole, it is not appeared here in animal cells, you find centriole, and it acts as, it marks the poles in the cell division, right? It acts this spindle is formed by centrioles. So likewise, any of these other things you can be Golgi body, if you ask, that is for the secretion, lysosome for digestion. All those things you have to remember. Those things can be asked. And then briefly explain how the secretory proteins produced in ribosomes are sent outside the cell. So ribosome, the function is actually protein synthesis. So proteins are synthesized in the ribosome, and these proteins, ribosomes attach, they produce proteins. Then these proteins are sent through endoplasmic reticula and then at the end of the endoplasmic reticula, it forms vesicles. These things I have explained you very well. And these vesicles ultimately go towards to go and join Golgi complex. Golgi complex again adds certain things to these proteins, and as vesicles they go and attach to the plasma membrane, and then through the plasma membrane it goes to the outside. That is how the proteins synthesized in ribosomes are sent outside the cell, secretory proteins, right? Okay, so it will get 3 marks. So the marks are also given here, how the marks are divided. You will get a very similar question paper in the same style, same structure. So this paper I want to give you just to show the structure, right? So what is a viral variant? Please briefly explain. So viral variant is what? A subtype of a virus that is genetically distinct from a main strain due to mutations, but not a scientifically distinct to be termed as distinct strain. So it is not a different strain, but it is a variant because of the mutation, genetically distinct from the main strain, uh, genetically different from others. So variants we find in COVID-19, variants are there because when the new mutations come, it can be identified as a variant, right? So likewise, you can be questioned, and then if you have written the correct answer, you will get 1 mark for that. And then state 2 major structural differences between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. You should be clear about these 3 things: virus, prokaryotic cells, eukaryotic cells. So prokaryotic cells is the bacteria. So here the question is between bacteria and eukaryotic cell in higher organisms, right? So prokaryotic cells lack an organized nucleus, whereas eukaryotic cells possess an organized nucleus. Prokaryotic cells lack membrane-bound cell organelles, while eukaryotic cells contain membrane-bound cell organelles. So prokaryotic, you don't find membrane-bound mitochondria and those things, but in eukaryotic cells you find. Prokaryotic cells you find ribosomes, but they are not membrane-bound. So, and you know, in prokaryotic cells, you don't get organized nucleus. Likewise, you can be questioned about the differences between the virus and prokaryotic cell. Then you have to write difference between virus and bacteria. For example, in bacteria or the prokaryotic cell, you get the capsule, and whereas virus, you get capsid. So you don't find capsid in bacteria, you don't find capsule in virus, and also with bacteria, large virus are small, and bacteria can multiply independently by themselves, whereas virus always need to go to a living cell. It can divide, it can multiply only in living cells in the host cell. We call it host cell, right? Likewise. So these questions, it is not difficult to answer. Next, the section 3 is briefly explain how DNA is packed in a eukaryotic cell. You can say at the simplest level, the genetic material is present in the form of a DNA double helix, right? Where two chains come together and make a double helix. Then the DNA is coiled around again around histone proteins to form nucleosomes. And nucleosomes, if you can see, remember the structures, you can go back and see the notes. And I have done these things very clearly. Nucleosomes again coil around and packed to form a chromosome. So if you have given the correct answer, you get 2 marks for that, right? And then how many chromosomes are there in a normal diploid human cell? In a normal diploid human cell, you get 23 pairs. or 46, 23 pairs. So 46, I explained you these things. And when the gametes are formed in a sperm or an ovum, you get one from each pair. So in a sperm, you get only 23, or in an ovum, you get only 23. But in a normal cell, normal diploid human cell, because uh, sperm or ovum they are haploid, that means N. But here diploid, that means 2N. You get 23 pairs, that means 46, right? Then the next question is, write two differences between between mitosis and meiosis in cell division. 1 mark per difference. So you have to write the differences between mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis occur in somatic cells, that means 2N. We find in body cells, normal body cells, somatic cells. Meiosis occur only during the production of gametes. During the production of gametes, only meiosis takes place. And mitosis, amount of genetic material is conserved. That means in the parent cell and the daughter cells, you get always the same amount. But in meiosis, amount of genetic material is half, because in the daughter cells, you find only half of the material which the parent had. And the daughter cells are genetically identical to mother cells because they have the same number of chromosomes. But meiosis, daughter cells are genetically unique because they have only one from each pair, right? And mitosis, crossover or crossing over does not happen. In meiosis, during the cell division, crossing over can take place. So cell division, you remember the cell division you find different in the cell cycle. Cell division is one stage, but in cell cycle you get GO phase, G1 phase, and the synthesis phase where the DNA amount is double chromatids are formed, and G2 phase, and the mitotic or meiosis the phase. You have to remember all those things. So the total 25 marks for that section. And then question number 2, answer all parts, state the overall reaction of photosynthesis in green plants. So photosynthesis reaction is given here. Carbon dioxide, 6 molecules, come with hydrogen, water molecules, 6 water molecules, combine together with the energy coming from the sun, right? Actually, above the arrow, you have to write the solar energy. And then these two come together and form a glucose molecule C6H12O6 plus. 6 oxygen molecules are released. 6 oxygen molecules are released, right? The opposite of this reaction takes place during the cell respiration, which takes place in mitochondria. So that is the second question. B, state the overall reaction of aerobic cellular respiration. This takes place in the mitochondria, where this glucose is broken down back to the carbon dioxide and water. But you need oxygen for cellular respiration. You need oxygen. And then plus energy is also needed. It gives, this gives, yields mean this should be the arrow here, and it produces carbon dioxide, 6 molecules and 6 water molecules. That is the opposite of the above reaction, right? Plus, you can get the energy because you break the bigger molecule into smaller molecules, so energy is released, whereas two small type of molecules come together, and to make a big molecule, you need energy. Again, when you break this big molecule to small ones, you release the energy. So this released energy, we can use. See, energy is released here at mitochondria as ATP, right? Using a flow diagram, next question, using a flow diagram, outline how humans obtain energy, ATP, from solar energy. So it is very simple when you look at if you know the system, because solar energy, through the photosynthesis, it makes glucose, putting carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide, water together to make bigger molecules. This big molecule is glucose. Now, this big molecules is available in the plant material, and this plant material consumed by humans as food. Human can directly take the plant material, or it can eat fish which eat the plant material. So it is a through food chain. Through food chain, it is coming to the human. Directly can eat, or we can eat meat and take that from a, because if you eat chicken eat food the plant material. So when we eat chicken, we get again this glucose, which was produced by photosynthesis in green plants, right? In the plants, and you get the that food. Glucose comes to human, and through the digestive system, it absorbs, it breaks down this material and get glucose. And in our cells, cellular respiration at mitochondria, we break down this glucose molecule into carbon dioxide and water and get the energy. Here the energy is released as ATP, right? So this is the story you have to write in the simple language. If you put arrows and if you just make a flow, right, outline, that is enough, right? And then the second question there, figure 2 depicts a particular organ system in the human body. Identify and state 4 functions of this organ system. So as you can see, this is the skeletal system in humans. So skeletal system functions, right? Identify, it is okay, identify skeletal system, 1 mark, 4 functions. 4 functions are given here. Any of these, from any of these answers, you can write 4 functions. Provides a basic framework for the body, facilitate movement, surface for muscle attachment, because all the muscles attached to the bones, protection of vital organs. You know this, we have the in the thoracic cage. Inside that, all heart and lungs are there. So this thoracic cage is made up of ribs. Ribs are called that is the bones, right? Production of blood cells. You know, in the bone marrow, blood cells are produced. Calcium homeostasis, because calcium can be released from the bone. So the calcium balance is controlled by the bones. And maintain posture. Posture maintain means අපි කියන්නේ කොන්ද කෙලින් තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා කියන්නේ. කෙලින් තියාගෙන ඉන්නකොට so කොන්ද means that vertebral column, right? So that is a skeletal part. So any 4, if you write of these functions, you get 4 marks, right? It asks already identify state 4 functions. So likewise, you can get another system. You can get a respiratory system where you find lungs and things. So there the function, major function is getting oxygen to the body. And if you can, you may get digestive system. Digestive system main function is to ingestion or eat the food and digest the food. Mechanical digestion, in the mouth you break it, right? Mechanical digestion, and also enzymatic digestion. And in the lower part of the digestive system, absorption, and the last end, the anus, is there to throw away the undigested food. Likewise, you can think about when a system is given, you can think and write 4 functions. So it is here, if you write, then you get 4 marks. Then the next is the endocrine system and nervous system. So I clearly explained these things during the lecture. So state 5 structural and functional differences between these 2 systems. So endocrine system, as you know, it is the signals are transmitted through hormones. In the nervous system, it is electrochemical impulses. Nerves are there, so the signals are transmitted through nerves or electrochemical impulses. So hormones are transported via blood circulatory system. Here the impulses are conducted across network of neurons. So endocrine system is not interconnected structurally because they are released to the blood. But here, nervous system, these endocrine organs are not connected to each other. But nervous system, entire nervous system is interconnected network. So it is a connected system. So elicit systemic response. Systemic response in the whole body reacts, right? Nervous system only to that place because it is like a wire. If the wire at the end of the wire, there is a place to place it supplies these electrical impulses. Only that part is reacting. So all the body can get the message, or a localized place get the message. So can elicit both systemic and localized responses. Response is comparatively slow in the endocrine system, hormone system, whereas in the new nervous system, fast response. You can just quickly react when a dog barks on you and jump onto you, you quickly react. Right? Those are fast responses directly. The coordination is conducted by the nervous system, right? So this asks 5 structural and functional differences. So they are there. So you can see very carefully and you can understand, I have said, so that you can get 5 marks if you write like that. Name the organ system which deal with 1. Internal distribution of material, and 2. Disposal of metabolic waste. Internal distribution of material, it is done by circulatory system or the blood vascular system, blood system. Blood vascular system is also there because we know that we get an injection, antibiotic injection, or we get into the bloodstream, vitamin, or this injection or the saline. So they are given to the blood system, circulatory system, because it takes it throughout the body. And then disposal of metabolic waste. Metabolic waste comes as nitrogenous waste. They are excreted. They are excreted from the body using the excretory system. So if you say circulatory system and excretory system, you get 1 mark and 1 mark. So that is how you can get the marks. And you can ask any other thing also. For example, if you ask respirator or the exchange of gases, then it is the respiratory system, right? And if you ask the movement of the body movements are done by musculoskeletal system. Muscles and skeleton to the musculoskeletal system. Likewise, you can, if you ask about this functions, then you can write the correct organ system which deals with that function. Then the next question, briefly explain what is meant by homeostasis using an example, 4 marks. So homeostasis is the maintenance of the balance inside the body. Despite significant changes in the external environment, certain animals maintain the internal environment of the body at a steady state, in a steady balance. So steady state, our temperature is steady. So we are called this homeostatic of the animals. So we can keep the body temperature and things steady in order to ensure optimal functioning of the body process. Because if you increase the temperature or decrease the temperature in the body, that will affect the metabolic reactions in the body. So for example is given here, thermoregulation. I explained you, when you exercise vigorously, you get sweating, right? Or if you run vigorously, if the animal run, and when the environmental temperature rise unfavorably, that animals will employ mechanisms such as sweating. අපි දන්නවා ගොඩක් රස්නේ දවස්වල දාඩි දානවා. That is because to maintain the body temperature. So when sweat comes out, what happens? This sweat evaporate using the body temperature. For the evaporation, it takes the temperature from the body. Body gives the temperature to that, so the body cool down. So this is what happens. If the temperature becomes exceedingly low, then we have shivering. When shivering happens, what happens? When shivering means that generate heat inside the body. So these things are happening just to generate the heat or lose the heat. If the body temperature goes up or down, right? So you can, this is an example, thermoregulation is an example for homeostasis, right? Then briefly explain why animals develop organ systems with increased surface area with the gradual increase in size and complexity during the evolutionary process. I explained you this clearly during that lecture, and I drew the diagram. I showed you the diagram or the pictures also for that, because when the animals getting bigger and bigger, you know, when a ball is getting bigger and bigger, the surface area and the mass, if you consider the mass or the volume and the surface area, the volume increase in r to the power 3, whereas the surface area increase in r to the power 2. So that comparatively, when the body increase and increase, the surface area is becoming lower and lower compared to the volume, compared to the body mass. Therefore, that surface area is not enough for the animal or the plant for to exchange certain things like gases and to excrete for excretion and things. So that they what they make is internally the surface area make invaginations into the body. These invaginations again make these sort of increased body surface by making this folding, right? Making foldings increase body surface, increase the surface area. So because the surface area, the outside surface area is not enough to maintain this body, right, for gas exchange and for the food taken and the excretory product exchange, so that it makes invaginations and foldings inside the body that increase the body that increase the surface area, which can be used to exchange material with the outside environment, right? So the surface area, sorry, what happened to that? Okay, the surface area to volume ratio become less as the organism increased in size, because the volume increase in r to the power 3, surface area increase in r to the power 2, right? Decrease in the efficiency of, then the efficiency of diffusion through body surface is getting decreased. Therefore, with the increased size, the amount of substance exchange also increase. Therefore, you need increased surface area with the animals develop organ system, imaginations, and foldings inside the body, so that it increases the surface area which can be used to exchange the things from the with the outside environment, right? Okay. So if you have correct answer, then 3 marks you can get. Then 3, answer all parts. State 3 differences between angiosperm and gymnosperm. Angiosperm, gymnosperm. Angiosperm, I said the seeds. Here the fruits are formed in the angiosperm, but gymnosperms, no fruits, seeds are exposed. So naked seeds. That is why gymnosperm meaning. Angiosperm means you get fruit, right? So fruit plants, flowering plants, and these are gymnosperms. Angiosperms, you can get any other example like apple or mango or orange or any other thing can be. Gymnosperms, cycads, and those examples are there. So if you are asked to write differences, you can write reproductive structures are flowers. Here, angiosperm, gymnosperms, you don't get flowers. Instead, you have cones. Here, the angiosperms ovary develop into fruit. Now, here they don't produce fruits. Angiosperm seed is enclosed by the ovary, but here the naked seeds you find gymnosperms. That is the meaning of the name gymnosperm. And angiosperm pollination methods are highly diverse, and gymnosperms very few methods of pollination, because here you get all the honeybees coming, they produce honey, and all these things happen in flowering plants. But in gymnosperms, cycads, like example, cycad, you don't find these methods. They have simple cones, so mainly depend on the wind. And then the next question is name three main types of tissues present in plants. Three types of tissues. Three major types are vascular tissue, dermal tissue, and ground tissue. What is the job of vascular tissue? Vascular tissue means xylem and phloem. Xylem takes up minerals and water, and the phloem distribute food up and down. So that is vascular tissue. Dermal tissue is the outermost tissue which gives the protection, right? And then the ground tissue is there. Now, ground tissue ground tissue can have several functions. For example, in some plants, ground tissue can has chloroplasts, so they can do photosynthesis also. Ground tissue you can do photosynthesis or the food storage, or it can give a support also to a certain extent, and it can give the protection also, so that ground tissue. So no definitive function, but it has multiple functions. Remember, for ground tissue, photosynthesis, food storage, support or protection, all these things can happen. So figure 3 depicts a type of tissue present in plant. Identify the type of tissue and name the parts labeled Y, W, and Z. Right, so this you can see that this is a phloem tissue. Labeling, you can give one mark. One is companion cell, W is sieve tube, Z is the sieve plate. These things I have clearly given these diagrams when I was doing the lecture. Right. Likewise, you can get the ground tissue or the xylem cell. Xylem cell, you know, tracheids cells are there and vessel elements are there. So that if you are asked the functions of those things, you know, you have to tell clearly. And in fact, in xylem, you find these cells like tracheid cells. They are non-living cells, and the flow is more unidirectional to one side, because xylem takes water and minerals from bottom to up, towards up. Now here for phloem, both upside and downside movements can be there, right? And also this, okay, the three things you have. Now the next question is state two functions of stomata in plants. Stomata, I explained you in plant leaves or plants. Sometimes the bark also getting very in herbs, but in bigger plants always you get in leaves, right? And stomata, the main functions, gas exchange, and all gas exchange, it facilitates transpiration. Gas exchange means carbon dioxide goes out, comes inside, and oxygen is outside, because as a byproduct of photosynthesis, oxygen comes. At the same time, it takes carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. Gas exchange. And also facilitate transpiration. Water loss happens because of that. Because of that water loss, it is called transpiration. Because of that transpiration, suction action comes, sucking like, so that the water is going through the plant from the roots to the top of the plant because of this transpiration, right? Facilitate transpiration. And then next part of the question is explain what is meant by population ecology. What is meant by population ecology? Using an example. Now, the answer is ecological studies concerning the dynamic of a group of individuals belonging to the same species. So the population mean, I told you, population mean the group of individuals belonging to the same species. They are same species. If they are different species, then it is community. If they are different species, then it is community. So population ecology is the ecological studies concerning the dynamics of a group of individuals belonging to the same species living in a particular area at a given time. So that those things are also there. Population at a given time, and in a particular area, right? So ecological studies concerning the dynamics of a group of individuals belonging to the same species living in a particular area at a given time. if you are asked to write or explain what is meant by community ecology, then it is a group of individuals belong to different species. Different species, not the same species. If the group is same species, then it is population. If the group contain different species, then it is community ecology, right? Example is at present the elephants in Min area have reduced by X% due to lack of water, food, and habitat. So the elephant population, it is called a population, Min area. Min area elephant population, right? Likewise in a community, but community different species are there. So between the species, different things can happen. Different things between the species. For example, prey is there, predator is there. Predator-prey reaction, things are going on, interactions. And also between the animals, there can be competition for food, competition for the shelter, various things. So if the different species are there, then it is a community. Same species are there, then it is population, right? Then for the next question, a food web is given. Okay, this is what does this say? The question is a food web depicted by figure 4, this figure. If the population of grasshoppers, you can see various things are there, carrot, grasses, grass, grain, grasses, then grasshopper, mice, rabbit, fox, all birds, right? So what does this say? If the population of grasshoppers suddenly increase, this one, grasshopper increase, if the grasshopper increase, what happens? They are asking the question, right? What does this say? State 4 possible outcomes. One is population of birds and owls will increase. Why? Grasshoppers increase, then the food is more and more food for these two. So the owl population, owl population and bird population will increase. Then another thing is grasses and grains will deplete because more grasshoppers mean they eat more and more of these things. So the grasses and grains will deplete, right? Another one is population of mice will reduce. Mice, where is mice? Mice is here. This mice is getting reduced. Why? Because grasshopper, more large number of grasshoppers came and they eat all these things. And so there is nothing for mice to eat. So that the mice population can go down, right? Foxes will increase. Foxes, there is fox, it is here. Foxes will increase because it has more prey, more bird, right? So that you can see this effect is going to the next level also. Grasshoppers increase, birds increase. When birds increase, foxes can increase because they have more food now, right? Likewise, it is. You can the 4 outcomes are given here. Likewise, you can imagine what can happen to this community or this the food web, right? And the next question: rabbits will reduce. Okay, there's another thing can happen. How many things we ask? 4 possible outcomes, but again 5 we have given. Any 4 you can write. Rabbit will reduce. Rabbit will reduce because number of foxes will get increased. So when this get increased, this will that can affect to this one also. When number of foxes increase, they eat birds and also they might eat rabbit as well. So the number of rabbit will decrease, right? So that you can imagine what happens. So any 4 of this will get the full marks for that question. In a food chain, 100% of energy is transferred from one organism to another along the trophic level. Do you agree with this statement? No, I said only 10% is going to the next level because this level so if the plant is eaten by rabbit, then rabbit is eaten by fox. When it plants it to the rabbit also do certain movements and rabbit use that energy for the rabbit's energy. That energy disappears to the environment, right? Dissipate. and only 10% go to the next level in the food chain. This I clearly explain you to the next trophic level. Only 10% of energy will be transferred from one trophic level to the next, while the rest will be dissipated as heat, because rabbit use it for its energy. So that dissipate as heat, mainly due to respiration. Because rabbit has to live, it has to respire. අපි හුස්ම ගන්නවා, හුස්ම ගන්නේ නවත්තනවා කෑම නැතුව කිව්වොත් එහෙම කෑම කපිනවා හුස්ම ගන්න. So කන කෑමෙන් 90% යනවා, next profit level can get only 10%. So total marks 25 for that question 3. Question 4, answer all parts. Figure 5 depicts DNA fingerprinting of a child and 4 couples A, B, C, D, who are claiming that they are the biological parents of the child. All A, B, C, D, 4 couples claim that this child belongs to them. According to the fingerprint banding patterns provided in the figure, which couple is most likely the biological parents? Explain the reason for your answer. So you have to, I told you very clearly, the banding pattern in the child. Each of these bands should be present either in the father or in the mother. So if you look at carefully where these bands, this band finding this couple and this couple, right? So that you can clearly say, sorry, this one, right? This couple, and this couple, not in this couple. So this couple is out actually, and this band, this couple is out. No, so this one, all these three still okay. This one, and this couple you get, and in this couple you get, but not in this couple. So this couple is also out. So these two, and likewise you can go and see, and then you can see B couple. B displays the highest compatibility and similarity in band pattern to the child. So the child belongs to the couple B, right? So you can see carefully. If you look at, you can see. Likewise, you can see the similarities and these things. So instead of a child, parents, if you are asked to compare the different species and A, B, C, D, and you are asked to see which ones are more closely similar, then you can see the similarity according to the similarity of the banding pattern, right? So banding pattern is important, right? State the difference between a gene and an allele. What is a gene? What is an allele? The definition we are asking. Gene, the basic unit of heredity, which determines the nature of an individual's inherited character. Or else you can say it is a sequence of DNA nucleotides on a chromosome that encodes a polypeptide or RNA molecule that encodes a protein or a RNA molecule. Protein, some RNA will produce, some RNA stop at RNA level, tRNA and rRNA. mRNA goes and give a encode for a polypeptide. That is what this means, right? And allele is the alternative forms of a gene. Alternative forms of a gene. Nucleotide sequence is slightly different, right? I have given these definitions, so you have to remember these definitions. Please remember these definitions, right? So you get 2 marks. And next one is a genetic question. In a garden pea plants, yellow colored seeds are dominant while green colored seeds is recessive. Capital G, yellow color, simple G, recessive, green color. If two heterozygous pea plants, that means capital G and simple G. So capital G and simple G were crossed. Capital G, simple G, capital G, simple G. Here I have given this by mistake by capital T simple. It doesn't matter. If you say capital G equals to capital T here and simple G equals to simple T here, so it is like this: capital T, simple T, capital T, simple T. If you put into a Punnett square, you get 4 types like this. And what is the probability of the offspring having yellow seeds? Having yellow seeds is the yellow is the dominant character. So capital T is the dominant character. If the capital T is there, you get that. So this is yellow, this is yellow, this is yellow, this is two recessives, so that it is green. Okay, so to get 75 offsprings will express the dominant phenotype, that is the yellow color. Okay, so likewise you can get. So you have to always remember, if you get the sun. So for example, here if you look at capital T simple P, to get capital T simple P, it has to mix with the capital P has come from one parent and simple P has come from one parent. So that parents here also the here simple P, this parent simple P and this parent simple P. So you can just remember how to check this. This is not difficult, easy. We did some examples. Here, it is a phylogenetic tree. So this kind of phylogenetic tree, I said, show the relationship. For example, AB closely related and CD closely related. DC and AB, right? E is a separate one. So for AB, the W at W point, it has deviated from each other. Okay, we'll see what the questions they ask. That is, I ask, who is the closest living relative of the species D? Species D, the closest relative is C. So very simple. Who is the most recent common ancestor of species A, D, and E? A, B, and E. Most recent common ancestor A, B, E. A, B, and E. These three have deviated from here. E has gone this way, B has gone this way, A has gone this way. For both A, D, and all three A, D, and E, the common ancestor is here, Z. Z is the common ancestor, right? Is species C more closely related to A or E? C. C is mostly related to A or E. A is here, E is here, C is here. C is mostly related to A because it has to go this direction, the short way. But for E, it has to go through Z, right? So this is more closely related to A, right? Okay, one more. Figure 7 depicts the general structure of a coordinate. Name the parts labeled A, B, C, and D. So these are the coordinate characteristics actually I have given. So that A is the dorsal hollow nerve tube. Dorsal hollow nerve tube. And B is the notochord. B is the notochord. And C is the gill slits or pharyngeal slits or gill slits. And D is the post-anal tear. I have given these characters as chordate characters. It's very, very simple. 4 marks if you have identified correctly. And then fill the blanks P, Q, R, S, T, U with the appropriate answers. You get Porifera, Platyhelminthes, Arthropoda. 3 levels. You can have other levels also. Nematoda, Coelenterata, Nematoda, Mollusca, and Echinodermata. They are in addition to Porifera, Platyhelminthes, Arthropoda. Level of organization. Porifera, cellular level. No systems are there. Platyhelminthes, you get system level. Organ system, you find digestive system is there. So that organ system level you can find. In Coelenterata, no, you can't find organ system level, and it is still cellular level that happen most of things. And then organ systems you can't identify in Coelenterata. Nematoda you can identify, and Mollusca you can identify system level, and Arthropoda you can identify, and next level Echinodermata you can identify. Right? Symmetry, you get Porifera mostly asymmetrical, Platyhelminthes bilateral symmetrical, right? You can divide it into 2 equal halves. In Coelenterata, it is radial symmetry. Any axis along the body, you can, if you cut, you get 2 equal parts. So that is in Coelenterata, radial symmetry. Platyhelminthes bilateral. Nematoda bilateral, Mollusca bilateral, Arthropoda bilateral, and Echinodermata, if you get it is pentaradial, right? Okay. Germ layers, Porifera diploblastic, and Coelenterata also diploblastic. Platyhelminthes triploblastic. Above Platyhelminthes it is triploblastic. Only the Coelenterata diploblastic. Porifera you can say diploblastic. Process of absence of a coelom. Coelom, it is absent in Porifera. Platyhelminthes also it is absent. Coelom you find in Annelida. In Annelida, because the nematode also you get pseudocoelom. Coelom you can find Annelida and above Annelida, mollusca, Echinodermata you can find. Circulatory system absent in Porifera, absent in Platyhelminthes. From Nematoda onward only you can see, sorry, Annelida onward. Annelida you can find, and Arthropoda you can find, but it is a hemolymph, right? Hemolymph is open circulatory system. In mollusca also open circulatory system. In Echinodermata, no circulatory system is absent. Circulatory system, blood vascular system, you don't find in Echinodermata. Instead, you find in Echinodermata water vascular system, right? Right? Okay. These are the answers given here. And the next question is adaptations of organisms may be either structural, physiological, or behavioral in nature. Mention the type of adaptation of the examples given below. Very, very simple question. The shell of the turtle helps protect. So it is a structural adaptation. Turtle's shell gives the protection to the internal organs. So it is a structural adaptation. King snakes are immune against rattlesnake venom, which enable the king snakes to feed on poisonous animals like rattlesnake when food is scarce. So it is a kind of immunity they have. So it is a physiological adaptation, feeding on other snakes, right? Right. And then if you consider immunity, it is a physiological adaptation. If you consider as a behavioral adaptation, also you can consider, because it is, I think it is a physical. So the best answer is physiological adaptation, right? It is related to behavioral also, but best thing is physiological adaptation, right? Then some birds migrate in winter to more favorable locations in order to avoid harsh climate. This is purely behavior. They behaviorally they adapt, right? So it is a behavioral adaptation. So that is how this is a behavior. This mainly here mainly it is physiological. You can say behavioral also because different food types may need the behavior, and this is a structural adaptation. So this is the end of the question paper, and I discussed with you this model paper. So you will get a similar type of, because I thought it is a good flow for you to have an idea of how we make the paper, how your final paper is going to be at the examination. That is why we prepared this model paper for you. If there is any questions, you can ask now. Are there any questions, or is everything clear? Hello? Hello? If it is clear, please, yeah, what is the chat box? It is clear. Okay. So if it is clear and if you don't have any questions, we can stop this session. And the actual paper is also going to be something like this in the same structure. So it is not going to be difficult. I don't think it is going to be difficult for you. It's something similar to this model paper. So, okay then. Wish you all the best. Right. Thank you very much and good night.